Hello, friends. I'm Kush Khandelwal, and this is Ageless Athlete. A few years ago, I started asking questions that would not leave me alone. Why do some people keep pushing mentally, physically, spiritually long after others burn out or break down? What does it really mean to age well when you still crave movement, meaning, and mastery? This show is my search for answers. Each week, I talk to elite athletes, everyday adventurers, and pioneering researchers who are stretching the limits of what's possible across age, injury, illness, and self doubt. You will hear hard won lessons, untold stories, and science backed strategies for building a body and mindset that lasts. For those of us joining for the first time, welcome to the show. For the rest, thank you for joining us again. Time is our most valuable asset, and I deeply appreciate you giving me your time today.
Welcome back to the Ageless Athlete Podcast. I'm your host, Kush Khandelwal, coming to you from San Francisco. If you are new here, this podcast explores the stories of athletes who defy age and continue to push the limits of human potential well into their later years. If that sounds like something you want to learn from, then make sure to subscribe and join us every week. This is episode number 44. And today we are doing something a little different. Instead of our usual interview format, I will be sharing the 5 commandments for lifelong performance in your sport, drawn from the incredible stories of athletes we've had on the show. These aren't just tips. They are life principles from people who have mastered the balance of peak performance and aging. This is part 1 of the series, and you are going to want to come back for part 2 as well, where we will dive into the remaining 5 commandments. But for today, let's get started with the first 5 commandments that will help you sustain your passion for sport over decades. Commandment 1, find your why. Our first commandment, find your why. This is the foundation of longevity in any pursuit. When your why is deeply rooted, it serves as the anchor that keeps you steady when the seas of life get rough. Let's dive into Craig DeMartino's story. In 2002, Craig took a 100-foot fall while climbing in Rocky Mountain National Park, a drop that left him with shattered bones and a broken spine. His leg was so damaged that he eventually made the decision to amputate it below the knee. Most people would see this as a tragic end to an adventurous life. But for Craig, it was the beginning of something greater. After his amputation, Craig had to relearn how to climb, this time with a prosthetic leg. Picture him standing at the base of a towering rock face, looking up at the crags he used to ascend with ease. Now with every foothold, every grip had a new layer of difficulty. But Craig's why wasn't just about climbing. It became about proving to himself and to others that resilience can take you further than raw physical ability ever could. He told me, I realized my story could help others. Climbing became a tool for showing what's possible. His journey wasn't just about conquering rock faces anymore. It was about inspiring others, particularly adaptive athletes, to push beyond what society tells them is possible. He found a deeper reason to keep going, and that why became his guiding light to this new chapter of his life. Similarly, Marshall Ulrich, an ultra-endurance athlete who ran across the US at 57, found his why in pushing the limits of human potential. Running 3,063 miles in 52 days. That is over 2 marathons a day, every single day, for almost 2 months. He ran from California to New York, encountering every conceivable form of suffering: blistering heat, swollen joints, fatigue so deep he could barely keep his eyes open. But when asked how he pushed through, he always goes back to his why. For Marshall, it wasn't just about covering distances. It was about breaking the barriers of age and showing the world and himself that life doesn't have to slow down with time. Marshall's why also took him to high places, literally. He summited the 7 summits, including Everest, and has completed more than 126 ultramarathons. His why is about finding out what the human body and spirit can endure and pushing that boundary just a little further every time. When you know why you're doing it, pushing through the pain becomes possible, he said. If you want to hear about how these athletes found their why in the most trying of circumstances, check out their full episodes. The lessons they offer are pretty grim. The second commandment is to embrace the learning process. No matter how experienced you are, the learning never stops. The mindset is key to sustaining success in your sport over time. Take Lionel Conacher. He didn't start surfing until his 50s, an age when many are thinking of scaling back their activities. But Lionel, a businessman by day, decided that his goal was to take on one of the biggest, gnarliest waves in the world, called Mavericks. If you have ever seen footage of Mavericks breaking, you know it's not just any wave. It's a colossal 60-foot wall of water that can annihilate you in an instant. For Lionel, surfing this wave was about much more than ticking a box. It was about humbling himself to the learning process all over again. He shared how on his first day at Mavericks, he fell on 6 consecutive waves. Imagine this. You are out in the freezing Pacific in a very thick wetsuit, getting thrown around by waves the size of buildings, knowing fully well that a single mistake could send you to the hospital or worse. Lionel told me, I looked ridiculous out there, but I didn't care. Each time I wiped out, I learned something. Instead of giving up, Lionel sought mentorship from pro surfer Bianca Valenti, who helped him refine his technique and mindset. With each failed attempt, Lionel gathered more knowledge, and by age 58, he became the oldest person to surf Mavericks for the first time. That's the power of embracing the process. Every fall, every mistake is a lesson. Another athlete who lives by this principle is Hazel Findlay, one of the world's best young climbers, known for her mental toughness and first ascents. Hazel was the first British woman to climb an E9, one of the hardest trad or traditional grades in climbing. But even with her years of experience, Hazel approaches every climb like a student. This process is never over, she said. You always have more to learn, even in sports you have done for years. She embodies the idea that no matter how far you have come, the learning process is what keeps you moving forward. For her, it's not about conquering new heights for the sake of it. It's about the constant evolution of her skill and mindset. Both Hazel and Lionel remind us that whether we are just starting out or decades into a sport, there's always something new to learn. To hear about their incredible journeys, check out Hazel and Lionel's full episodes. Moving on. Let's move on to commandment number 3, prioritizing the fundamentals. Are you with me so far? Okay, it is easy to get caught up in fancy gear, the latest training trends, or advanced techniques. But the truth is, none of that matters if you don't have the basics dialed. Juliet Starrett, a former world champion, white water rafter, and co founder of CrossFit, or its early avatar known as Mobility WOD, lives and breathes this commandment. Juliet has built a career around teaching people to focus on the fundamentals. She believes that the core pillars of health, sleep, mobility, nutrition, and recovery are the foundation for performance at any age. Juliet told me a story about when she was preparing for the World Rafting Championships. She was at the peak of her physical fitness, but was neglecting her recovery. She wasn't sleeping enough, her hydration was inconsistent, and she was constantly pushing her body beyond its limits. It didn't matter how hard I trained if I wasn't taking care of myself. She said, after a particularly tough competition, she realized that prioritizing recovery was just as important as training itself. I've been thinking a lot about energy, not just in training, but in recovery, in focus, in how we age. So when I came across NutriSense, it hit home. It's a program that pairs a 24 by 7 glucose biosensor with a dedicated dietitian to help you understand how your body responds to food, stress, sleep, and movement, and then act on the data. I chose it because I wanted something real, not another hack or one size fits all plan, just honest insight into what's actually going on inside me and how to build habits that last. NutriSense has helped over 150,000 people take that step. And if you want to try it, you can get 33% off your first month with code Ageless15 at nutrisense.io. Again, that's nutrisense.io, code Ageless15. You can also find this information on the show notes for this episode. Juliet compares this to climbing Mount Everest. Most people are stuck in Kathmandu, lost in the din of what they think they need, rather than focusing on what really matters. Get to base camp first. Her advice is clear. Master the basics and the rest will follow. Similarly, Diana Fitzpatrick, an ultra running legend, has completed multiple finishes in the Western States 100. She emphasizes the importance of fundamentals like sleep, hydration, and nutrition. Even at 65, Diana continues to compete at a high level and credits this to her unwavering commitment to the basics. If you don't prioritize these key things, nothing else matters. For Diana and her partner, Tim, their daily routine is built around the basics. When I interviewed them, it was in the morning. They had already completed a 6 a.m. yoga class. Then they had this hydration ritual where they drank a ton of water. On race days, she focuses on eating simple, whole foods that give her body what it needs without overcomplicating her nutrition plan. The fundamentals aren't glamorous, she said, but they are what keep you going when things get tough. Juliet's and Diana's stories serve as powerful reminders that no amount of talent or advanced training will make up for neglecting the basics. So my advice is Yes, if you have mastered these basics, you should start looking into the latest trends. Follow the Brian Johnsons. Follow who you think is the latest fitness guru. But if you haven't done that yet, then make sure to sleep well, stretch, and eat whole foods, balanced diet. It is what will allow you to continue performing in your sports well into old age. Okay, next we have commandment number 4. You have to move your body every day. This one is so important. Consistency is key, and it's not about training hard every single day. It's about integrating movement into your daily life. Matt Samet, a veteran climber and author, embodies this principle in everything he does. For Matt, movement isn't just about getting a workout in, it's about staying connected to his body, his mind, and the outdoors. Even on his rest days, he finds ways to move. Whether it's walking around his neighborhood or it is doing his daily stretching practice. He has built movement into his life, in part because he knows the price of not doing so. After suffering from overuse injuries in his early 30s, Matt realized that daily intentional movement, rather than constant hard training, was the key to longevity. Even if I'm busy, I try to do something physical every day, Matt shared. Whether it's a 20-minute yoga session or a hike with his dog, Matt makes sure that his body is always engaged, which allows him to train and climb injury-free well into his 50s. His daily movement isn't just about physical health either. It's about maintaining the mental and emotional connection that comes with being active. Tinker Juarez, a legendary mountain biker and 2-time Olympian, still rides every day at the age of 60. For Tinker, cycling has become more than a sport. It's a way of life. He told me, if you love what you do, even a simple bike ride, every turn of the pedal, that becomes a joyful act. And that's what will keep you doing it daily, year after year. Tinker's daily rides are not just about training for races. They are about the pure movement of his mind, his body into space. Whether it is a 60-mile endurance ride or a short spin around the neighborhood, he sees every ride as a way to reconnect with his body and the outdoors. His consistency has allowed him to remain one of the top competitors in his field. Long after many of his peers have retired, he's still out there crushing these races, often beating competitors half his age. Both Matt and Tinker show us that the key to staying active over the years is finding a way to incorporate what you love and some movement into your life every single day. Want to hear more about how Tinker and Matt integrate movement into their daily routines? Their episodes are packed with insights. Find them and listen on. Okay, thanks for staying me so far. This is the last one. Be your own advocate. This is our commandment 5. Whether it's managing injuries or pursuing your goals, no one will take care of your body and mind the way you can. Jeremiah Bishop is a world-class mountain biker known for his endurance and grit. Jeremiah has faced countless injuries over his long career, and he learned early on that he had to be his own best advocate if he wanted to keep competing at a high level. After dealing with a particularly tough knee injury, Jeremiah sought out not only traditional medical treatment, but also alternative therapies like acupuncture and meditation. He said, "If I didn't push for what I needed, I would have stopped racing years ago." Jeremiah's approach to recovery is comprehensive. He listens to his body and acts as his own health manager, ensuring that he gets the care he needs to keep performing at the highest level. He became an expert in understanding his own body, carefully monitoring his recovery, training schedules, and diet to ensure he never missed opportunity to get strong. Similarly, Heidi Woods, a climber and yoga instructor, believes in listening to her body above all else. Heidi said to me, "You have to be your own best advocate, whether it's dealing with injuries or pushing for what you need in life and sport." She spent decades honing her ability to tune into her body's needs, ensuring that she stays in top form for the long term. Heidi was diagnosed with some bad hip injuries, and that actually resonated with me. The fact that Heidi kept seeking out professional advice on dealing with the injuries and found a way to do regular physical therapy instead of going in for the straightforward recommendation of getting a hip replacement. That has actually inspired me to double down on my hip physical therapy, as I have some similar issues with my hips. Yeah, sometimes you have to go and keep asking questions until you find the truth, the advice that will really help you get past injuries or any other setbacks. Back to Heidi. She now practices a unique combination of yoga, meditation, and a wholesome yet nuanced diet to stay connected with the body and avoid burnout. Jeremiah's and Heidi's stories, they are both incredible athletes. They teach us that no one will prioritize your health like you will. So speak up, ask questions, be proactive in your care. There you have it, my friends. Our first commandments for longevity in your sport. We have taken the lessons from athletes like Craig DeMartino, Marshall Ulrich, Hazel Findlay, Juliet Starrett, Tinker Juarez, and more. Whether it's finding your why, embracing the learning process, or being your own advocate, these are principles you can apply to your life starting today. Which of these commandments resonates with you the most? How can you start incorporating them into your daily routine? I encourage you to reflect on these questions and start making small changes to build longevity in your life, in your habits, and the sport that you love. Remember, this is just part 1. Stay tuned for part 2, where we will dive into 5 more commandments that will help you keep thriving in sport and life. That's it, folks. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Ageless Athlete Podcast. I hope you enjoyed this show just as much as I enjoyed creating and producing it. Whether you are an athlete looking to push your limits or someone striving to maintain a healthy, active lifestyle as you age, there is always something new to learn. From Ageless Athlete, we bring you a fresh episode each and every week. If you liked what you heard, we would love it if you would take a moment to subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an update. And if you really liked what you heard, please leave us a review, crush those 5 stars on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever else you listen to your podcasts. It helps us reach more people who are passionate about staying strong and resilient, no matter their age. Don't forget to visit our website and leave your email so I can send you occasional insights, stories, and tips to keep you inspired and motivated on your journey. You can also follow us on Instagram at Ageless Athlete Podcast and on YouTube at Ageless Athlete Podcast as well for even more great content. All of these links are available on the show notes for this episode. This show is entirely produced by me, Kush Khandelwal, based out of California with the help of my trusted adventure pup, Roger. Until next time, keep challenging yourself. Keep pushing those limits. Stay mentally and physically fit. Continue doing what you love to do. And my friends, stay ageless. Friends, this is not an ad. This is just a quick message to those amongst us who are listening to Ageless Athlete podcast for the first time. I would love it if you would hit subscribe and follow on your favorite podcast app, whether it's Apple Podcasts or Spotify or Stitcher or Overcast or what have you. We bring you stories and routines and other inspiration from elites in the world of the best outdoor sports. In each episode, you will find how these athletes stay connected to the outdoors, maintain peak performance, and continue to thrive as they age. I encourage you to look through Brad episodes and listen to a couple and see if they resonate. And then, come back next week. We release an episode each week. And I am really inspired to bring you some of the best stories from the world of the outdoors. Okay, back to the show.